everyone, and welcome to the Newbcast Podcast, Season 3. This is the return of the show. How's it going? My name is Miss Michelle Jean. I am here joined by a couple of the guests of the show. Returning with us to the show is Dizza G, who is a former host of the show as well. Dizza, welcome to the show.
Does it count as former host if we have the same hosts, though?
Former, current, and future host? I don't know.
I am the host of the past, present, and future.
It's kind of like a Christmas ghost or something. I don't know.
I'm doing well. I am doing well.
Great. Awesome. Our other former host returning as current host, Alex AMV Payne, is represented by a hungry badger.
I don't know which side he's on.
He's to your right. He is to your right. So
Okay.
yes.
That guy?
Yep. The guy over there, or I suppose he's down there for me, is a hungry badger. And hungry badgers do have opinions, as it were. Funny how that works. And then we are also joined by our special guest for the evening, Hipponanymous. Welcome to the show, sir.
How's it going?
How it's going. I'm trying not to melt, is what I'm trying to do. It has been so
I know that
incredibly
feel.
hot here, like mid-upper 90s with humidity, and it's been gross. It's been really gross.
Absolutely awful.
Yep, it's great. I have 3 fans on me, an air conditioner, a dehumidifier all around me. It's great. So if you hear a hum from my microphone, that's what's going on. That's actually what's going on. So I'm trying to keep myself cool and not melted. Anyways, welcome to the Newbcast. This is a gaming podcast where we're not professionals, so we don't pretend to be, or do we? Where we talk about video games, culture, and everything else around it. As it were.
I gotta go. I'm a professional. I don't belong here.
Please. I thought we pretended not to be, look.
I'm offended. That's what I'm saying. I'm offended.
You're offended. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm offended too. I'm clearly not a professional.
Well, then you can't come.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aww. Poor Dizza.
We'll get you a Happy Meal, though, okay?
Yeah.
I'll bring you back one.
Yeah.
Look, you don't have to be. You can just pretend to be, and everything will be great.
I am good at pretending, so this will be fantastic.
I know that feel.
So just a quick history lesson for everyone involved. The Newbcast Podcast is actually a gaming podcast that's been on and off again since 2011, where Diz and myself, under my old Twitch channel and everything, we did a podcast about World of Warcraft, of all things, and we discovered there's actually a lot more to talk about besides WoW.
Nerds.
Yeah, that's a history I don't often go back to. I tried for just a moment when the beta was coming out for the new expansion, and I spent maybe 2 hours and I was done. But that's because there's so many other fantastic games out there.
Wait, you spent how much on the expansion and all that, and you played for 2 hours?
No, it's a beta. I haven't spent any money yet.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, man, if I
sure
spent
I have
money
it
on that, I
for-
would force myself. To keep playing.
Jeez. So, anyways, with that history lesson and that whole WoW moment of the past, we evolved to just talk about gaming news, topics, whatever else is going on in the culture, and we went on hiatus. But after some recent events and other things that we've been involved with, it's like, you know what? We actually want to bring this back. All of us here are part of the same Twitch stream team. Even our guest is part of our stream team, which is great. And it's a great way for us to have a chat about something that we're all passionate about, which is why we're back. Which is perfect considering that this past week was the pinnacle moment in gaming culture every year, E3. So,
there's a lot to be said, especially regarding culture, and we are going to dig deep into that.
We were talking about that in the countdown. I didn't want to say anything. I actually brought it up because I wasn't sure if we should stay away from that or not.
Oh, well, now you got to bring it up. What?
Oh, it's welcome.
I don't know if you want to talk about it now, but
Well, I mean, you brought it up. Let's just go ahead and go right.
Okay. We were talking about Flute Guy. Did you see Flute Guy? I think it was like the Sony conference.
It was during Sony, yeah.
Yes, I did. I did snark about a little bit about that on Twitter. I was like, ooh, nothing says awesome about Japanese games and Japanese themed music and all with a white guy in a robe playing a flute. It's great.
We were
think
talking
everybody
about
went
how
crazy on that. Yeah,
everyone lost their minds, and people were like screaming about it on Twitter, and then like the defense was that he's actually a master of his craft, and that like he's recognized and stuff. And we were like, why? I mean, he put in the effort to become a master fluter. I don't know what they call it. Okay, sure.
A flutist?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah.
A florist. He's a master florist.
Master florist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, can I talk a little bit, not just him, but in general? One of the things I really noticed about the press conferences this year is there were so many music pieces. Like every single press conference had cuts to like mini concerts. Why were there?
Hasn't that been like every E3 that I can remember has had like some crazy band playing or some huge orchestral piece in it? It's always like Sony or EA or something like that.
Right, but it's usually
mostly Sony. They love their audio.
Yeah, Sony does. Well, look at what Sony is. I mean, but that's usually a press conference, not all of them. All of them. Like
that is true.
They're just everyone's taking that idea. They're like, we have dead air. What, like Fallout? Everybody freaked out about Fallout because it was like, I don't know how many hours. I was busy. I was streaming, so I didn't see that. We did tune in, but we tuned in at the perfect time because I was actually live, and we watched that together. Well, we watched like a few releases from Bethesda, but I did not know that there was like I don't know how long was it? It was like 1 to 3 hours, something like that, of just dead air. Like, stay tuned, and that was it.
Oh dear, I didn't realize that had happened. See, because as I watched the press conferences, I did it through a Snark watch along. So, like the host of the stream that I watched would cut away when actually just talk to her audience while there wasn't anything going on with the press conferences. Because an hour and a half of dead air. Oh my god.
Yeah, I actually
I watched,
that's
crazy.
I watched Jenna Bain. I watched her Snarkathon, I think is what she calls it, right?
Yep.
I watched the Sony version of that, and then so I can't just watch these conferences without the snark.
Yes.
I need it because it's like I'm thinking it, and I need someone to say it because then I don't sound like a dick, you know.
I've been validated.
Exactly.
It's funny because she was my fuel. Like, if you were watching Twitter, I was live tweeting E3 press conferences, and like I wasn't repeating what she was saying, but she definitely was like, "Oh yes, that is good fuel. Here, let me throw more fuel onto that fire." And oh my god. But with the music pieces in general, like there was just so many of them, and Sony had 2 of them, right? There's Flute Dude. And then there was Banjo Dude.
I did not see the Banjo Dude. I wish that I.
Oh, I missed out on Banjo Dude.
Hang on, I'm googling this freaking right now.
Yep. So look, it wasn't just one piece. So that means there were at least multiple music pieces. You had Ubisoft that had the Just Cause segment, which of course is its own concert because it's freaking Just Dance. And then you had the Donkey Kong performance as well. Donkey Kong music.
As a note for the banjo, I haven't seen it yet, but if it's not Bela Fleck, I'm going to be so disappointed. He's the only banjoist that I think deserves any credit ever.
Do they even introduce him?
I don't think they do.
They didn't introduce the flautist.
I know, it was just a dude on the stage.
Yeah.
Well, it's just an old guy.
Which is crazy because
an old man in a hoodie playing the banjo.
If these people are masters of their crafts and we don't know it because it's an obscure instrument, perhaps a little bit of reference would be a good idea to prevent the outrage of the Twitterverse and the Redditverse or whatever else.
Yes, the master florist.
Yes.
we need to know.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's kind of like the chicken attack guy. It's totally like the chicken attack guy. Okay,
Chicken
so
attack.
Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
yeah.
What did I miss?
You do not know Chicken Attack?
No.
Oh
So
my God.
this is awesome. So Chicken Attack is
Googling it.
this Japanese person who absolutely loved yodeling, so much so.
Oh
that
no,
he
that's
changed-
his name.
Yeah,
I didn't know the name.
yeah. Everybody knows him from the video Chicken Attack, but he's done a whole bunch of other yodeling, which is amazing. And I promise you, if you didn't know who he was and he just started yodeling, you'd be okay, what are you trying to do with my culture here? What's going on? But legit, like, he is just one of the best yodelists in the entire world, and he just happens to be Japanese.
Okay. I didn't know that was his name, or like, is that the band name? Whatever.
I don't know. I could always ask Hannah. She performs Chicken Attack quite a bit, so.
Yeah.
It's so good though. That's like one of my favorites.
So
Gosh, it's awesome. It absolutely is. But yeah, some names beforehand would have made things easy.
yes.
And no, I'm sure putting Chicken Attack guy would not have been good if Chicken Attack was actually played at E3.
No, I think that would actually help the conference if they played. I think that would be amazing. I think that would be amazing.
Yes, please. Oh, of course it would be. Look, if you could do something like that, if you could do anything like that, that would just, it's a meme. That thing is a meme. At least people would get it. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I was gonna say, I feel like these people who are doing these conferences don't really understand their fans and maybe the culture, but I think that they do, and to an extent, obviously, but
Yes.
They just don't know how deep the rabbit hole actually goes, and
Yes.
that's probably for the better.
it's actually called the meme hole.
Hopefully it's nothing like a glory hole. Anyway, guys, welcome to the Newbcast, guys.
Look, you went there.
Yes, I did. I'm not ashamed of that. Actually, talking about that, can I just give props to Squeenix and their press conference, because at least they didn't have a concert breakout in the middle of their show. I mean, it was pre-produced, but
If that's the bar, it's pretty low. But congratulations, you didn't do a huge musical segment.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
I think there's something to be said for just games, but Square Enix, on the other side of things, those games have to be like huge and interesting and get all of my attention. Like, I want to have something that I want more of, and I never felt that way with any of the trailers, any of the presentation in Square Enix. And I'm a fanboy. Like, I am a fanboy, and I am saying that.
He is.
I like how you can vouch for him.
Oh, absolutely. Have you watched his stream? Like, let's be honest here. I mean,
Every time I'm there, it's always something like that.
Final Fantasy, another Final Fantasy, the Finalist Fantasy. Although, the one game that I was really hoping that they would have a giant trailer for, Octopath Traveler, which is coming out next month and is absolutely amazing, and I'm looking forward to it. All they said was, hey, you get a demo tomorrow. Enjoy.
yeah, wasn't that at the Nintendo like Treehouse thing?
And they didn't even say it on their own conference. They gave
Yep.
a trailer at Square Enix.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, where Squeenix gets 1 point, they lost like 5 because of the rest of their press conference. The other thing that really got me is that when I started the Squeenix press conference, it was right around lunch hour for me, right? So I was I was like, all right, I'll take my lunch. I'll watch for the half hour, and then I'll go back to work. I was finishing up lunch, and then all of a sudden it was wrapping up. I'm like, but that was only half an hour. What?
Hmm.
What?
Maybe they needed more concerts. Maybe they needed some filling.
Clearly.
That's how the the rest of E3 went. It was like 20 minutes of games and 40 minutes of music. Not really, but
It sure seems like it, because the one press conference that did not have a concert was 30 minutes, but all the other ones were hovering right around that hour 45 mark, roughly. That's what it seemed like. So Square Enix obviously was a loser to E3 in that regard. I mean, there wasn't anything too exciting from them.
I'm looking over the releases right now, or like the announcements, and I think the biggest stuff I'm seeing is like Kingdom Hearts 3, which I actually made a note about because I thought it was so funny that it reminds me very much of like Black Flag or Assassin's Creed, so I just named it what did I call it? It's Kingdom Hearts Creed or Assassin's Creed Kingdom Hearts.
Alex has finally joined us. Alex is no longer a hungry badger. So that, just in case you guys are wondering why the hungry badger suddenly disappeared and we had an actual person in that window. Yeah. So late introduction, but welcome. Once he figures out his audio.
Hey.
You got me?
Yes. So we were talking about the awesome music moments in the E3 press conferences.
The what moments?
All the music, all the concerts, all the great musical segments that occurred during all the press conferences. And what, sarcasm.
Blah, blah, blah. Just get to the talking.
Yeah.
Like, fuck your music. Let's get to the games. Unless the music's part of the games, then we might give a shit and put it on Spotify so we can buy it, but not really.
I'm glad to see that some things have never changed. Anyways, Alex, welcome to the show.
Sorry, I'm late. I was actually hanging out with a friend, then we went to the bar, and I met people, and that turned into a datey thing, and I totally lost track of time. So yes, it's totally my fault. But yay.
Hold on a second.
Your honesty is impressive.
Right. Hold on one second.
I'm actually leaving out quite a few details that will remain left out.
Good plan. So because of that, guys, what I'm actually going to go ahead and do is, Alex.
I'm sorry. Say what? Sorry, my roommate's video gaming right next to me.
So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and just move this down here, and there we go. There we go. He can remain an angry badger, a hungry badger.
Ooh.
I actually am hungry, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's see here. I have some donuts I'm gonna eat, so.
That said, guys.
And now let's just pop it into social eating.
Right.
No kidding. Look, so okay, we talked about the losers clearly of E3, but honestly, what were some of the things that stood out at E3? Like, that was impressive. That was awesome. I cannot wait to see that. Like, who won? What won E3 for you?
We can't talk about more losers. I think there was more than one loser here.
Okay,
they were all losers.
If there were more losers, please go for it. What do you got?
Yeah, who else is a loser?
They all suck.
So Square Enix was all videos. I mean,
but I thought that was a win.
See, I go back and forth on it. I'm not sure I necessarily agree. I think if the content were better, then I would say, sure, go without the music. But I feel good about the content. So give me music at least.
Right. So the reason why you thought that they were losers because the lineup that they had was unimpressive, or?
Yeah.
Okay. But if it was like really good games, then you'd be like, oh, this is fine.
I would say that was even better than not having music. Absolutely.
Okay.
Sony kind of missed out on material. I'm just trying to think what
Really,
other
though?
than like Kingdom Hearts 3.
You think?
How did
Sony
you
was
feel about
awesome?
Sony?
I thought Sony was great. I honestly thought that Sony was indeed the press conference that won everything. I mean,
They had so many games.
yeah, they had a ton of games. Not only that, but even though we had the fluterist,
The florist.
besides that, like there were some games from them. Like one of the things that instantly captivated me, like was the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Really, that was like
That
one
is
of
fair.
my least interesting. Look, I'm saying it right now. Unpopular opinion. I don't really care.
Ooh.
Wow.
It was blasphemous, I know, but I like the older games back in the day, but now I feel like they've just done too many remakes of the games and not really. And then I think they've really dropped the ball for me around was it 6? I think it was 6. It was less like it just didn't feel like, Resident Evil.
Yeah, after like 5 kind of felt that way. 6 and 7, it says something about the old tanky controllers. Like if you played Resident Evil from the early days, like you really know those tank controllers, and even though those are kind of abysmal controllers, it's what you knew. I was talking about it during the announcement video of Resident Evil 2, and I had mentioned that I had played that game so much that in scenario A, where you fight William at the end, I know that it takes 42 knife stabs to kill him.
And you stabbed him 42 times, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Many, many times over.
I got so good at it, I could beat the final boss, not with the pistol, not with the shotgun, not with the Magnum, with the combat knife. 42 stabs. So that clearly just confirms that 42 is indeed the answer to everything in the galaxy.
It is the answer.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of confirms it.
Can we talk about the banana rock?
The banana rock.
The banana who was rocking out on the guitar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
What?
I
What
think
did
that was
I
probably
miss?
there was like a little section where he was like a little banana. It looked like kind of like almost like a minion or something, just jamming out on a guitar, and then stops and he's like, oh.
And this is during Sony?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it once and I'll say it 1,000 times. All these presenters at E3 have not taken the master class of how to present your products.
Yeah, well, I thought it was an interesting little filler, but
It
I
was,
mean,
interesting.
See.
I don't know how I completely felt about it. I mean, I think the biggest problem I may have had with it is the fact that, again, it was a musical piece. Please.
it was like 15 seconds.
No.
It wasn't insane.
Yeah.
But then again, it's Sony, and translation is lost.
Well, I mean, if we're really gonna talk insane, maybe we should discuss Death Stranding.
I was actually thinking the
Okay,
exact same
yeah,
thing.
we can talk about that. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely borderline insane. That baby at the beginning of that trailer, nope. I was not about that.
That was a way to be like, hey guys, we want your attention, and it worked because I was like, what is happening right now?
And of course, for anyone who's been seeing the other Death Stranding trailers, they were all thinking, "Oh yeah, it's the baby."
Yeah, I have not. I've not been paying attention to it. So when I saw that, I was like, "What? What?"
Yeah, no. Like, I feel like I've watched or I've read some stuff on Death Stranding, but
But there's like no information at it.
No.
What we know is it's like a post-apocalyptic baby delivery service. Like that.
I don't think it's a baby delivery service. I think it's baby powered. I think it's baby powered.
Baby powered. Okay.
Like the equipment and everything seems to
like the
activate
Matrix
because of the baby. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So we're playing a video game that's set up in a post-apocalyptic world where we're delivering babies.
I don't know if that's we don't know anything.
Not like a doctor delivering babies, more like traveling across the country delivering babies. It's a long, sordid story, and you have to watch the trailers to not understand it.
It's so true. So true.
It's so true.
I
Michael J. Fox as Doc Hollywood delivering babies in the wild wilderness as he crashes his car into a white picket fence.
Look, here's the thing. Like, if you really need to know, just look up Death Stranding trailer. In the first 15 seconds, right? Would we say?
The first 15 seconds will make you go, what, and close it. Probably.
Yes.
With no question.
Yes, I agree with that.
Although, you'll miss out on the part where it looks like all of the gameplay is in fact a walking simulator. I am still under the suspicion that Kojima is just trolling us all with a walking simulator 3 from now. Because that's all we saw of actual in-game footage.
It's Kojima. It could happen.
It's kind of like that tweet of his, of the, Alan says it's corn cob, and people are like, we must decipher what this means. Because
that is exactly what's going on.
I mean, but that's just it. Like, that occurred during the Sony press conference. There was Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
despite our previous comments, I think that game looks brilliant.
Yeah, it looks.
It reminds
really
me. It reminds me of Neo, but with less Dark Souls and more story. That's what it reminds me of.
Is it Tenchu? It's a
Tenchu, yeah.
Tenchu.
I got a little bit of Tenchu out of that. Like, that's what I immediately thought. But I mean, I'm also basing my opinion on the original Tenchu for the original PlayStation. So that's, 20 plus years ago.
Tenchu was great, but I think I tried to play it a few years ago, and I couldn't get into it.
Is it one of those games that just didn't age well?
No, I don't know. I think it's just my tastes have changed and my expectations from a game have changed. So
that's fair.
I remember playing it as a kid, and I was like, "This is freaking amazing!" And now I'm like, "This is okay." I don't know if I want to keep playing it, but it's okay.
Regardless, I think Tsushima does, like, there's the few elements I got from that I think will translate really well into what this game has to offer, and it looks really, really good. And I can't wait to see more about it. Despite how good it looks, though, please remember the one gaming commandment that I swear by: thou shalt not pre-order.
None of the games.
Amen to that.
None of the games that on E3 have made me interested in pre-ordering. So, I'm pretty much right there with you, except for certain games that are whatever that I know that I'm gonna play anyway.
Right. At that point, they haven't persuaded you to pre-order. It's just you're going to anyways. So.
Pretty much. I generally don't pre-order games though. But yeah, like I would say the most interesting to me from the Sony conference was what was it called? Control. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Control looked really interesting, but there's like no information about it. But it reminded me of Beyond Two Souls, with like the Ellen Page lady.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's
that looked interesting. I don't know if I would buy it or play it, but it looked interesting. It caught my attention, and I was like, "Wait, what's going on?" And then by the time I was actually paying attention, the trailer was over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a good teaser.
I think that's another one to keep your eye on because that looked like it was good. Talking about things that really stood out to me, was anyone else really disturbed by The Last of Us?
I know where you're going. Keep going. I know where you're going with this, and I agree.
Please go.
That whole idea that you had, a little bit of a romantic tension into a kiss to a guy's throat being slit and mass
they did that
murder.
On purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not make things more intense? Let's just do it for the shock value.
It's a common trope in video games and in movies and just media in general to have like a stark contrast that shocks you to remember that scene. And that's exactly what they did. They were like, oh, here's these two women kissing, and now a dude's throat is being slit and he's making gurgly noises.
Because I don't know. Look. At least when I kiss my wife, I don't instantly think about the throats I've slit. I mean,
well, because you're not in that scene, you have to wait.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we clarified that. That's indeed the problem. So there has to be some banjo music apparently playing first, and I got it.
Kind of like Far Cry 5.
Right. I still love the Easter egg from Far Cry 5. Oh wait, no, 4. That's 4. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 5 was well, I like it sort of.
Oh, I watched your streams of it.
Yeah.
There was plenty of clips. Oh dear.
Let's see. What else? There was Go ahead.
So it was during the Microsoft press conference that jumping days and gears here, like things that stood out is like, oh, holy shit, was Battletoads.
Battletoads.
I did not see this conference.
Whoa, what's going on?
Yes.
Yep, Battletoads out of everything that could come back.
Microsoft announced that they are making a new Battletoads. The part I'm really hoping is, since Microsoft owns Rare, that Rare is actually the team that works on Battletoads.
I would only expect it. at that point.
Yeah. But
there's other stuff there too.
I'll say it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Don't Sonic 4 Battletoads.
You've said that 1,000 times?
Yes, not on stream, but in various conversations.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, take what was good about the original and don't turn it into Sonic 4.
Okay, I'm glad we clarified, because look, there was no gameplay. I don't think there's really a footage. It was more like the comic book font, which is great because as we've alluded to, we watched that Snarkathon, right? It was like, ooh, great comic book font and bubbles, and all of a sudden it was Battletoads. Like, oh shit. Okay, never mind. I'm completely interested now.
I get why you did this. Why you did this.
Yep.
And I hope to anything that's out there that it is still tough as nails.
Yeah. Speaking of studios that was acquired by Microsoft, what about the fact that Ninja Theory was also acquired by Microsoft?
Were they?
Yes, that was announced at the press conference. For those that
this is the one that I missed.
Okay, yeah. So for a quick recap, Ninja Theory is best known for the game Hellblade, which is an incredibly great story. I know Hippo played it on his channel. I watched, I think, the whole playthrough of that. So given your intimate experience with the game, Hippo, I think you have the most authority to speak on what the game was like to play.
Wait, what game? Sorry, I was looking up and a video played. I couldn't hear you.
Hellblade.
Hellblade, right? Okay, so Hellblade was a fantastic game. They did some very interesting things. Why do videos got to keep playing? So Hellblade, I had some issues when I was playing that game, not with the game itself, but I had just upgraded to Windows 10 and was having blue screen issues. Surprise! But that game was, I would say, my favorite game out of last year. I think I kind of want to go back and replay it. Maybe not on stream, but the way the whispering and the audio was done, like the way things happened, was just so good. Like I wish that it was longer. And we're not gonna make a joke about that. But it was a great game. And if you've never played it, I strongly suggest picking it up whenever you can, if there's a sale or something like that, because it is a fantastic game. The combat, I was really worried, like, you know, how everyone's like, well, if you die forever. And I was like, oh shit, I better not die. But even though I died a few times, it wasn't that bad. It was really fun. The puzzles were interesting. And in fact, I got stuck on this one puzzle for like 45 minutes to an hour, and I was like, chat, help me. And chat was like, we don't know. So it was great. It was great. I strongly suggest playing that game.
Sure. And yeah, that's based. It recently got added to my library, so I have the chance now. But the story was really intense, and the fact that Ninja Theory is really good at that. I'm really hoping that with Microsoft acquiring them, Microsoft will let them just do their own thing, and just kind of go, here's money, make stuff that works, you know.
Or maybe they go the other way around and they inject some of that storyline into some of their other material.
Yeah, that's also true, especially if there's like cross-studio collabs under that Microsoft publisher umbrella. That could definitely be a thing.
I'm very interested to see what they come out with next.
Yes.
It looked, or it didn't look. It was just a fantastic game. The scenery, the art style, just everything was so good. Like I said, I want to go back and play it because the blue screens really ruined it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I loved the game, but the added stress of having your computer blue screen in the middle of a stream with a bunch of people hanging out and enjoying it as much as you are. Like chat loved that game, and I loved it too. So to have it be interrupted by blue screens and stuff really kind of brought it down a little.
Yeah,
I suggest going to check that game out.
So hopefully by E3 2019 they will have announced a new IP, because I think that could be the potential is just as good, right?
So I wanted to switch a little bit of the topic. Why was Cyberpunk 2077 on the Microsoft E3?
Congratulations,
CD
you've asked
Projekt Red.
Right? Congratulations, you've asked a $64,000 question. Look, I don't know. There's some of those games that were announced during like the Xbox press conference or even the Sony press conference, like mentioning Resident Evil 2 earlier. That's Capcom. The Devil May Cry that was also announced in Microsoft. That was Capcom. No, that's Squeenix, isn't it? Or is it Capcom? I don't remember. Wow, why can I not remember who Devil May Cry is published by? But that was announced during the Microsoft press conference. So I don't know, but it's just what conference it made it into. Yeah. Unless Microsoft has some exclusive deal with it, that's a possibility.
Well, and I think one major point to Xbox's press conference, and I mean, they bullet pointed it like a PowerPoint presentation. Hey, we have 50 games that we're showing you. Hey, we've got 17 of these that are exclusives, and 13 of these are world first presentations. Like, they wanted to make sure that quantity was a part of it, so it wouldn't surprise me too much if they kind of eked a couple of things in to make sure that those numbers were where they wanted it to be. And hey, if Cyberpunk gets a little bit of showing on that, because that's the place where they found their viewership, and Sony wasn't going to charge them too much to get up on there. I don't know exactly how those agreements work.
That could be why Cyberpunk was there. Plus, some of those publishers and studios, they don't want to pay for the time. So if they can work it out with Sony and Microsoft to get into their press conference, why not?
Except for the fact that Kingdom Hearts 3 was on 3 different presentations?
Yeah, that's something that I noticed.
Yeah.
Maybe they just paid for that. They're like, oh, hey, our game is going to come out for this and this and this, so why not have advertisements on every single one of them? Mm-hmm. And it was the exact same trailer, by the way. It wasn't anything different.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which I don't understand. Like, Squeenix, as far as Kingdom Hearts 3 is concerned, they've already, got the license to print money with that game. They didn't need to do that.
I think there's already enough people who are interested in the game. They don't, I guess they just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that it was coming out.
Hey guys, I don't know if you heard, but Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out really soon. By the way, I don't know if you heard this. But Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out soon.
The combat looked way more interesting than the original ones to me. I'm gonna say another blasphemous thing. The old Kingdom Hearts don't interest me whatsoever. I watched a few people play it on stream, and I was like totally bored. In fact, one of the people that I was watching was doing a 24-hour stream, and she fell asleep in the middle of playing that game.
Oh no, that's not a good sign.
Exactly.
I believe it. I do. Look, I'm with you.
I'm sure it's a great game, but it's not interesting to me whatsoever.
I'm with you, Hippo. It's just like, do you honestly think that Cloud would run around with Pluto and Daffy? Let's be honest here. No.
That's not even the thing that bothers me. It's not that, like, you know, the characters are interacting with each other. In fact, I think that would be like a majority of the draw for it, for fans and stuff.
Sure.
But for me, as somebody who doesn't really care for JRPGs and stuff like that, like, I like some of them, but I'm not like a huge fan. And that, I mean, that's pretty much like Secret of Mana, you know, which actually looks like an interesting game, but I just haven't picked it up and played it. I just feel like that game isn't for me, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just not a stream game or something. I don't know.
That could be.
I don't think it comes along particularly well as a stream game, but the feel of playing through all of the combat is wonderful as the player. And I don't think it translates particularly well.
There are definitely games that I've been playing off stream that I'm like, man, I wish I could stream this, but nobody would show up for this. This is so boring to watch, but it's so much fun to play.
As the guy that plays, you know, Farming Simulator and
you know what? I do really well with Farming Simulator. Thank you very much.
I think there's a big difference there, though, because with Farming Simulator, you can spend a little bit of idle time talking or actually playing the game, and a lot of that time is spent socializing and hanging out and doing the fun stuff. Whereas with Kingdom Hearts, when you're in combat, like, you got to think about what you're doing. You're spending all of your time on that, and it doesn't look like that much. It just looks like a flurry of stuff.
That's fair.
Also, that storyline is the most convoluted story in all of video games ever, period.
I'm just going to tell you right now, Michelle, when Farming Simulator 19 comes out, I'm buying you and PK a copy, and we're playing on stream.
Fine.
I'll have you know you're playing it with me.
Deal. You know what? That's fine. I'll do that if you're going to do that. Talking about games that were kind of a surprise in that regard, though, like other like weird games, like so. I'm doing this because Kingdom Hearts is a mashup game, right? The other mashup game that really got my attention was like, really, is was it Battle Force? No, Battle Force. Battle Force? No.
Battle Force?
The one that definitely didn't get your attention was Smash Bros.
You know, the one that really got my attention was that one that I don't remember.
It was the Shonen Jump mashup.
Oh yeah.
So the name doesn't stick to me, but the content of what the game was definitely jumped out to me because it was Shonen Jump. Jump Force, yes, thank you.
Right off the tip of the tongue. You're ready for it.
I was.
You're so close.
You're
so close.
Yeah, no. That look, maybe it's the fact that I'm like part of an executive team for an anime convention in the Twin Cities area. I don't know, but I'm totally down with that game. Like,
I have so many things that I want to say right now, but what I'm going to say is I think it's actually a really good use of content.
Yes.
I think that the material is unique. I think it will be a great alternative to Smash Brothers, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm super excited about it, but we kind of know what we're going to get with Smash each and every time. Right?
We know what we're gonna get with any Nintendo game because Nintendo doesn't reinvent the wheel. They're like, look, it's not broke. We're not going to try to fix it, and it works, right? So, and that's even true with Smash. But Jump Force. Now that could be. Who doesn't want to see Naruto try to fight Frieza? I mean.
I'm like the only person on this podcast who like I fucking hate everything.
Oh my gosh.
Like what do you call it? Smash.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been a Smash fan, so.
You know, I'm not. I enjoy Smash if someone's like, "Hey, let's play this for a while." Like, it's a good party game, but I'm not like uber competitive into it, or like from the Nintendo announcements. Like, the biggest thing I was excited for was the new Fire Emblem.
That was sort of interesting, yeah.
Right? Like, that got my attention. I was excited about that. Dang.
But it's more up my alley than Smash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how I'm just shitting on everything everyone in chat loves right now. I'm just like, this game sucks, and then they're like, what are you talking about?
Should I just get you like a roll of toilet paper or something? Like, here you go. I mean,
yes, please.
Look, what about some of the other stuff that was like during some of the other press conferences? Like, we saw Fallout 76, which, yay, Fallout. Hopefully it's not buggy.
Okay. I have a lot of thoughts, but please, Dizza, you go first, because I've been talking way too much.
So I remember a group by the name of EA a while back saying that they were going to take a game that's never really been online and require it to be online. I remember that game being called SimCity, and I remember the response to that. Now all of a sudden we have Fallout 76, and hey, it's going to be all online. Not
Dizza.
heard this entire time?
Dizza, I'm going to correct you on that one. So the SimCity Online debacle was not a decision by EA, but it was a decision by Maxis and specifically Lucy Bradshaw. EA didn't have anything to do with it.
It's true, but I look for any excuse to blame EA, so let me do it.
No, this is where I fact check you, just like Candy Carly during a presidential election.
Oh.
Okay.
The point remains.
My take on it. We have wanted games like Skyrim and Fallout games to be multiplayer. So I'm skeptical, but I'm also very interested. I don't like the fact that you probably are going to have to be online even if you want to play single player. That bothers me. However, I do really enjoy the idea of playing a Fallout game with my friends.
Yes.
I do, and I think it'd be great for streams and stuff like that.
Yes.
But that also means, is it going to be able to be moddable? Like, are we going to be able to mod the game? Because that's the
one
thing,
of the beautiful
right?
parts. Yeah.
That's a good point.
And I have to say, not to like shit on Bethesda, but I mean, Bethesda's not very good with story. Like, they make interesting side stuff, like side missions and stuff, and then the main story has been garbage. Every Fallout, every Elder Scrolls game, the main story has been like, aside from maybe like Oblivion, it's been, and then like before that maybe it was okay. I didn't play the older ones, but Oblivion, even the main story for Oblivion, I was like,
I'm not going to disagree with you. I think that the open worldness that Bethesda did, like, they're great at creating their open worldness, but their stories they could be stronger. And I completely agree with what you're saying as far as always being online, because look, when you get like when you start wandering into that MMO arena, even though it's not an MMO, but it's certainly getting there. Those always have to be online. I think to the point of SimCity is there are games that shouldn't necessarily be always online, and then there are games that should be based on what they're supposed to be, or at least have the option to be primarily online. And maybe that's what they should have done, is they should have done primarily online. Like, primarily this is meant to be online. You're supposed to play with your friends, compete with other people in their vaults. However, if you really, really want to play offline, you have the option.
Minecraft it.
Is 76? Do we know if 76 is going to be always online, even if you single player it?
That's a great question.
I mean, probably, right?
Yeah, they say entirely online. And they also say on there that it's going to be far easier and far more, I think they imply far more enjoyable as multiplayer versus single player, meaning that they're not going to make it easily accessible for people to just play it single player. And that concerns me a little bit. If they have the difficulty level tuned like Diablo style, sure, go for it. I think that's going to be just fine. But as excited as I am, it is, once again, one of those situations where I am not confident enough where, even though I like the rest of the Fallout series, this is not something I would pre-order because I think there are too many big questions sitting there regarding how it'll actually play out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing about that. Like, you mentioned Diablo. This podcast back in that day shat on Diablo a ton as well. Like,
rightfully so. When it was first released, it was garbage.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess one of the things I'm really hoping is, at least with Fallout 76, is please don't let it become a battle royale. Just please, please.
Yes, Fallout Battle Royale.
Oh, like.
Did you want to talk about that? Because I know you made a note in.
Oh my God.
and your tweets about it.
Stop with the battle royale games. Stop.
But why would you stop? Look, I'm only playing devil's advocate here because I totally agree with you. But why would you stop when, like, Fortnite has now gained so many people streaming and viewers and stuff that it's kicking MOBA's butts.
Okay, Jesse,
on Twitch.
Here, let me explain to you why.
Look, no, okay. I would 100% agree with you. I cannot stand all the Battle Royale games. The only one that's even remotely interesting to me is the one that just came out, the Rem Royale, because they've done something interesting with it.
Yeah. So here's my problem with Battle Royale is we already have the people at the top, and it's possible to dethrone it, but the people are the game's already at the top. Right now it's Fortnite and was previously PUBG. My problem is it's already a carrot that was on a stick that was caught. Let something create the new stick, create the new pack, and become the leader of that new pack. Because what was it a few years ago? It was roguelite everything. Everything was roguelite.
Before that, it was zombies.
Yes.
Before that, it was zombies.
Right? And people are always trying to chase like that game that was like captivated a huge group of people and made them play. It's like, stop doing that. Create something new. Make that new thing that makes people go, I want to play that.
Well, again, with the devil's advocate, I think that the current games, the current battle royales, they have so much more. They have so much potential to be better than what they are. There's still so much room for them to grow as a genre because it's a very new genre, right? Mm-hmm. Well, not new, but it's like it's a new genre in that it's the forefront of gaming at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we it started with H1Z1, and then it turned into DayZ, or was it DayZ before? I think it was before, right? And then that sparked H1Z1, and then we had Player Unknown Battlegrounds, which is one of the most garbage names I've ever heard for a game. Like, it's pretty bad. And now we have Realm Royale, and now we have Fortnite.
Yep.
And these games, there's not really like. Okay, you guys saw that I posted. There was in the Discord. There was Kirby Battle Royale.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just a straight up rip off,
Yeah, well, it is. It's a cash grab.
They have so much potential to open up parts of that genre to like different things, but the problem is everyone's copying the exact same formula, not really innovating and changing it. They're like, I mean, we had H1Z1, and then we had Player Unknown Battlegrounds, PUBG, and it's pretty much the same thing, only in a different engine, with a little like better graphics and a little bit more realistic physics. And then we have Fortnite, which is free, and a cartoon. Same thing. It's like they're all the same thing, right? Like the only thing different between PUBG and Fortnite is the combat, or not the combat, but the construction, which is actually, it changes the game quite a bit if you're playing it, but it's still the same formula. Realm Royale, you have different classes. It's still kind of the same formula, but it's like slightly different, so it's a little bit more interesting in my opinion. But I haven't watched a lot of it.
I feel like the likelihood to take by creating a new battle royale game and then trying to take a market share and hoping to take a majority public a market share is so slim to nil. Is it possible? It's possible. I mean, we saw PUBG completely take a dip back in January, and Fortnite skyrocket as a result. So I can't say it's impossible, right? Because it's not impossible. But what I am saying is that the likelihood of that happening is slim to nil, right?
I think there's opportunity there, and we take a look at some other example. So, say the Minecraft phenomenon, right? Minecraft came in completely new, completely innovative. We saw Terraria get into that space. We saw what else got into that space really well, or even decently well. Starbound, yeah, absolutely.
Well, but Starbound and Terraria is the same developer, so.
True.
That does help. That does help.
We have this idea. How about it in space?
Right. There are ways to make it work. I think it's in talking about that. Like Terraria morphed that idea of what Minecraft had so much that although there was certainly the inspiration, there was a lot of extra stuff there that totally made it a different game, not just a rehash with some slightly different mechanics added to make the game different enough to avoid a lawsuit. And of course, we all know that doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I think it placed itself in a lot of other opportunities as well. Fallout 4, like the construction that was done in Fallout 4, would not have been the same experience, I think, if it weren't for Minecraft. The other element to it where I would be happy to see other games in that space, even if they fail. Like, even if it's like the MOBAs and Paragon, poor Epic Games, succeeding in one place and absolutely being annihilated in another, is that games like Paragon, who are coming in to try to interrupt, require these other games to innovate on what they're already doing. We've got Fortnite right now, which is continuing to give updates between seasons, and I think doing a really good job of it. We've got PUBG that's also doing that, and the fact is the competition that they have just between each other is forcing some innovation. Imagine what it would be like if we had a third or fourth big opportunity in Battle Royale to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
I agree.
Driving innovation, fine, okay, but as long as that doesn't result in Mario Battle Royale or Sonic Battle Royale, then fine, we can let it be. But oh my god,
I agree.
Well, I think I'm gonna go down after the podcast. I'm gonna go download Kirby Battle Royale. I mean,
oh, you bastard!
That's just my jam, you know.
You bastard.
Although, if we're gonna talk about things really going down the bonus points to Bethesda for making it happen. Skyrim very special edition.
I knew you were gonna go there with that.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm actually very interested, but we don't know anything. We didn't see anything, right? They were like, here's some mountains and some clouds. Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
Or is that's Elder Scrolls 6 I'm thinking of.
I'm talking Alexa.
Oh, right. Okay, that's right. Because everyone thought it was a joke, right? Because Jordan Peele came out with that video.
Yep.
And everyone's like, oh, that's a joke. Clearly, that's just really funny.
Right?
It's just satire or whatever. But it's like, no, that's legit. They came out with that.
Yep. Yeah. See, I thought it was a joke too. I'm like, this is a filler, right? And then so there was reports like, no, this is not a joke. This is definitely happening.
Yeah, I totally brushed it off as that was a really funny. That was a funny video on YouTube that Jordan Peele made, and then I looked at who published it, and I was like, "This is legit? What?"
Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious, and it's beautiful to see these relationships. It makes Bethesda feel like a small company, and it's really not
at all.
No.
At all. But those little moments of like, we're just gonna do something fun to be fun. It's wonderful.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was great. I made it or when I first saw it, Zoe had posted it to me, so I was checking it out, and I was like, oh, that's a really funny comedy skit that Jordan Peele made. That's really funny. And then the next day, I didn't even know until the next day, they were like, yeah, no, this is actually a thing.
So random thought, since Bethesda went into this whole Alexa realm, Rabbids on Alexa, go.
Rabbids?
Rabbids.
Oh
gosh, can I have lemmings on Alexa?
Look,
I think lemmings on Alexa would be the best, because I would find so many wonderful ways to destroy them without even realizing what I was doing.
I mean, I guess you could do that if you really want to, if you just want them to jump off a cliff or something, but I don't think you really need to do that. Wow, we've bounced all over as far as like, here's like, oh yeah, Microsoft, never mind, we're totally not talking about that anymore. It was definitely...
I'm still interested in Cyberpunk 2077. I've been interested in it for like 2 years now, and now that we're finally getting a little bit more information about it, I'm like, I'm still down for this game. That's actually something that I'm interested in. Another thing, Dying Light 2. Please,
Yes.
Right now.
Yes,
Can I please have that right now?
Yes.
That's what I would like right now.
Yep. Nope. Totally agree with that. That was pretty awesome. Or Beyond Good and Evil 2, the sequel.
Yeah, I didn't actually see too much of that. Skull and Bones,
Yes.
I'm super interested in. I was very much let down by Sea of Thieves. I've been watching Sea of Thieves for a while before I got into the early access. I don't know what it's called, but basically I was under NDA, couldn't talk about it, and I was like,
Sure.
and I'm still just kind of like, it's been out for what, 3 months now? I'm like, well,
Yeah, right.
but the Skull and Bones actually looks interesting, so I'm keeping an eye on that.
Sure thing. So, hey, we can keep going on this, but I think right now would be a great opportunity to take a quick break.
Okay.
If
Sounds
we can.
good.
So, if everyone go ahead and grab your drinks or whatever you have to do. I'll have some music going. Don't go too far away, though. We'll be back short. We will be talking more about E3, Microsoft, Bethesda, Ubisoft, and whatever else. We'll see you shortly. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Newbcast Podcast. So, can I just share something with you guys quick?
But of course.
Okay. I want to make sure I can actually hear you too. So everyone's nodding. It's like, I need audio, guys. Thank you. No, I was about to come back and get everything going again, and I got called away. We just set up a dehumidifier right before sound check. It's a 30-pint dehumidifier, and that thing was over half full since it started before sound check. And point of reference for everyone else, that was about 2 hours ago.
Dang.
So it's a little humid here, just a bit, just a little. So I wanted to share that with you, because yeah, it's warm. It's really, really warm here.
And it's not just the heat. The heat on its own, if it's a dry heat, that's not a problem.
Right? It's that humidity. That thing is so brutal. So where did we leave off?
I was still in the Microsoft stuff.
Microsoft
There's like 2 or 3 games that I kind of we brushed over or we didn't actually talk about that I was like, oh, we should talk about that.
Oh, so here, let me tie this back in because we were also talking about Skyrim Alexa edition. To tie it back to the Microsoft, the other WTF I had going back to Microsoft was the Funko Pop Gears of War. Really? Gears of War Funko Pop.
It's what the players need.
Clearly, that's what everyone wanted. Everyone wanted Funko Pop Gears of War.
Yep.
I'm looking at another website's review or like kind of just rundown of the things that happened, and there's one that it's like Crackdown 3, Terry Crews yells a lot.
I feel so bad for Terry Crews because you can tell his lines were recorded a few years ago. Stuff like the like a boss. It's like, is that still a thing in 2018?
I don't think it's still a thing. No. Look, it's they really dated themselves.
There were a lot of things that went out in 2018. In 2018, went out in 2018. It was okay for 2017. You can't even do that in 2018 without someone saying, "No, I don't believe you're actually allowed to do that."
So
with a British accent.
I love his voice for that too, don't you?
One of the games that I was sort of interested in, I didn't, like I said before, I didn't really get to see this, but they announced like the Division 2 like stuff for it.
Yep.
So apparently there's going to be a lot of new features. Now, I'm not like a huge Division 2 fan, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It was an interesting game. I didn't really ever get to play it with my friends though, because they had already played it by the time I picked it up, because I picked it up on a huge sale. So maybe that's why I don't hate it.
Poverty gaming style. I see.
Exactly, straight up poverty gaming. I was like, this is really, I think it was Toby or maybe it was Elkin. Somebody bought it for me, and then I picked up like all of the DLC because I really enjoyed it around December. And I played it for like, that was the only game I played off stream for like a month.
Nice.
And I actually really enjoyed it.
So you didn't get to partake in the queue simulator.
Uh-oh.
We have become fragment.
We have become
perfect. 10 out of 10. But at least the Hungry Badger is in perfect place.
Yeah.
That is true. That is extremely true.
I am Dizachi. There we go.
I've taken ownership of your forehead.
But yeah, so I had picked it up in December, at the very beginning of December, and I just played it the entire time, and then I forget what happened, but I really got into another game, and I never picked it back up, and I've been meaning to, so maybe this will be a reason to pick the game back.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that, and I think that as long as it doesn't become a queue simulator, I think it's probably going to be pretty popular. But
see, when I played, there was no problems. There was no problems because there was like 5 people playing, and I was one of them. So,
see,
and they were all in the dark zone too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, see, I recall seeing the photos, like the screenshots of the fact that there was collision detection, so you couldn't just all pile into one spot. You actually had to line up to do stuff, and yeah, that was a bit of an oops.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there was like nobody playing it. I would very, very rarely run into another person, and like I said, the only time it was in the dark zone, and I was lucky enough that everybody was super nice. I was expecting people to kill me like instantly as soon as they saw me, but no, they actually helped me. So I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm usually not one for PvP games, so I was like, yeah, no, it'll be fun. And
I thought you enjoyed PvP games. I mean, that was always the impression I got whenever we played anything together.
You mean golf with your friends, and that is only a PvP game because you created it. You created the PvP aspect of that game.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I thought it was part of the features.
There's like one more game that Just Cause 4 with Wingsuit. Look, first of all, Just Cause Wingsuit, favorite part of the game.
Yep.
Like with the parachute and the slingshot thing, not slingshot, the grapple hook.
Yep.
So good. Oh my gosh, I loved it so much.
That was one of the titles on my list of like, I cannot wait for this either, was Just Cause 4. Was it Walmart Canada we have to thank for that leak? But yeah, no, being aware of its existence and that it was coming out this winter, it was like, yes, I can totally get behind this.
So the last one was Just Cause 3. Zoe had picked up, and I watched her play it for a while, and I was like, the things that happen like the derpy things that happen with the grapple hook.
Mm-hmm.
You grapple hook and you just smash your face into stuff, or you let go and you fall and just kill yourself like that. It's the wingsuit is my favorite when you're just gliding around and you try to pull up but you don't, and you just right into the ground or right into a car.
Yeah.
It is some of the most fun I've had in a video game in a while, and I wish that it did better on Twitch, but I can understand why it doesn't. It's one of those games, you know.
It can be. It depends on how you play it, right? Like, if you go for absolute mayhem, I can see where it's mildly entertaining, but if you're doing the story, I can see why people wouldn't be interested in that.
The category is filled with younger people. Let's just say that. Get off my lawn is what I'm saying. But yeah, and I think there was one more game I wanted to talk about.
Sure. What else you got? I think one of the things that while you're thinking about it, Tunic.
I found it, but go.
Oh, I was
Tunic. Yes, Tunic. Oh my god, I want to play that game so bad.
Tunic looked really good. It looked so cute too. Like,
it's adorable.
Yeah, Tunic looked really, really good. I look forward to seeing what that looks like with reviews and everything, because I'm totally down with that one. It looked like.
Ori and the Blind Forest 2, or Ori and the Will of Wisp. You know where I'm so on for that. I really want that game.
You mean Will the Lisp? No, Will the Lisp. Yeah. Yeah,
that's exactly what I meant. I played the first one and I didn't 100% it, but I got pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. Was so salt-inducing, but at the same time, it was so cute and adorable, and Ori was adorable, and the story was like, I almost started crying because it was so sweet. I was like, okay, you know what? I can deal with the salt because the game is so interesting and so good, and I just have to get better at playing the game.
To balance it out.
Exactly.
Sweet to balance out the salt.
It's sweet and sour.
Sweet and sour.
It's a Sour Patch Kid.
It is.
Ori is a Sour Patch Kid.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, and the biggest game that I wanted to talk about on this list, Metro Exodus.
Oh, sure.
I am so down for that game. Every year around October, in October, or in fact on Halloween, it's a tradition for me to play the original and the second one, Metro Last Light. And Metro Last Light has to be one of my most favorite games of all time.
Sure.
It, like, the graphics, the story, I loved it. I loved it.
That looked pretty interesting too. Yeah.
I was so interested in the game. I read the books.
Oh. You're an
that's
lore
a whole
aficionado?
new level.
Yeah, I loved it.
Okay. No, that's cool. I mean, yeah, I could totally see why that would be another one to be completely excited about. I think it's so easy to sit there and be snarky and cynical and everything else towards the games, like, what the fuck is this? But when you start actually seeing the ones that you're excited for, it's like, yes, just give me more of this.
Yeah, when they announced Metro Exodus a few months ago, I was like, yes, that's exactly what I want right now. Like,
well, the Metro,
I can't wait.
The Metro games in general just look, they have such a good appeal, a look about them, and the way the environment feels about them. Like, I could.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Apparently, this one's supposed to be open world though, so
really?
We'll see.
So, feeling more and more Fallout as it goes on.
Yeah, it's very much Fallout Russian Simulator. I don't know, but I liked. It was a linear game that I was super interested in, because at the time, we were in the heyday of open world games, open world RPGs, and all that stuff.
Yep.
And I think it's a callback for me to Stalker. Stalker has some of the most interesting gameplay in that type of a game, in my opinion, because there's so much going on in the world, but it's not like a Skyrim game where everything is going on and you're just kind of walking through. I mean, it is like that, but the game, the weather aspect, the paranormal aspect
yeah.
of Stalker was I wish, and I think that's why I like Metro, because Metro has those elements, as well as it being a scary shooter. You're killing monsters that are coming to get you, you know. And then it has like the whole other aspect of like alien creatures or something, question mark. I'm not going to spoiler it. If you haven't played it, go play it.
So that in mind, what about the other like demony, monstery FPS that was announced this year?
Which one?
Doom Eternal.
No. See, again, I'm going to shit on something people love. I don't really care about Doom.
Wow.
I know. I'm sorry. It's just not one of those things that is that interesting.
Like Doom's never been a big thing for me either, so I really get it.
Okay,
but,
well, I'm glad I'm not
a huge fan of FPS. That's never been my element. Like the closest I get to an FPS is playing Splatoon, and I absolutely love it. But anybody on Earth is not going to say, "Well, you really do like yourself some FPS, don't you? Good job, Diz."
Well, I'm gonna say something again controversial. I actually like Destiny 2. So yeah.
That's all right. That's legit.
It's a third-person shooter, and I enjoyed it.
I think
I also picked it up for $12. So
that helps. That does help.
Was it your channel where I was just like, hold on, wait a minute, and I talked about the fact that I could not stand Destiny 2?
I don't think maybe it was. I don't know. We might have talked about it.
Yeah. Maybe it was you, because you're like, did you even play it? I'm like, yes, I did, and I got the game for free.
See,
so
I
I'm
actually liked
biased.
it. I got it for $12 on Humble Bundle, and I enjoyed it so much that I spent the like $25 for the DLC. I like it.
Yeah, like
it's like Diablo but shooting stuff. I like that.
Exactly.
I just felt like
I don't even really like shooting games. I mean, if you look at my channel, I pretty much primarily only play management and city building games, and that game was like, oh, I like this.
That okay. I just I don't know. With Destiny 2, like I played for like maybe 40 minutes, and I got to the farm, and I was like, this isn't like engaging to me. Like I don't know. It wasn't my cup of tea.
I have to say the intro was boring as. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. It was not interesting to me at all. The story I could care less about, but the gameplay later, when you are starting to collect better things and you kind of understand what's going on a little bit more in the world, it's more entertaining. It's engaging to me.
And maybe that's what gets me, because like with FPS games, like I like enjoying PvP, like FPS games. Otherwise, if I'm playing first-person games, it's either management type games or something with a story.
Yeah, well, and I mean you have that element available, but you don't really get into it until you get to the end game. And I think it's very relevant to relate this to World of Warcraft, right? Because how many people have you been like, just play a little bit more and get yourself to level 40, and you'll start getting into it, and you'll really know what's going on. It's very much that way with Destiny.
I don't know. I guess I entertain myself by punching cows. So I mean,
I'm at the end game in Destiny finally. And I haven't continued because pretty much nobody plays anymore. But I have to say I enjoyed what I played of it. Enjoyed the like $12. It was worth it for $12 in my opinion. It's not something I'm gonna stream. It's not something I'm gonna. I know people who main that game and don't do very well, and they main it. So it's not one of those games that I'm gonna stream, but I do enjoy off stream.
Got it. Well, I mean, yes. If it's your thing and you like it, then cool. I mean, it's not.
Okay.
And as a matter of
the same topic. Yeah, no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, as a matter of the population, the way that Destiny is designed, they really do expect a whole ton of people to disappear and then come back on new content. So if that is something that you want to get back into, you're going to spend a month or so after the new material comes out. And that's, what's the slated date on that? They announced that at E3, right?
Did they?
I know they announced new expansion, but...
They did. But I don't know if they gave... I don't think they gave a date.
Yeah. when that happens, you got about a month and a half of good PvP again. So maybe it will be worth that time for you, Mish. Probably not by the way you're describing it, but I will at least give it one more shot to see if I can get some more interest out of it. Maybe hit some of that rating content, because that's where all of my friends that are playing the game tell me that they enjoy themselves. And honestly, I just hit PvP afterwards, and I enjoyed it until whatever reason my computer didn't like me and decided to cut me out 3 minutes into every game, which for PvP is awful.
Yeah, that's kind of rough. That would be rough.
For anything, that's pretty bad though.
I'll give it one more shot, and it's just that game too. That's my weird bias against Destiny. That's why I don't play it, not because I didn't actually enjoy the content.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I would agree. I have had some connectivity issues, so I definitely understand where you're coming from with that, and it definitely makes me not like you. There's a point where I have to restart my computer just to keep playing it, and I'm like, do I want to even do that? And the answer is no, because I'm lazy and I don't want to wait the 40 seconds for my computer to restart.
Fair. So as far as other story based, then what about something like the new Wolfenstein? I mean, that was the thing that was announced too.
Again, that's another thing that I'm not really super interested in, but I'm not against it. I played the original one. I don't know if you got, or not the original one, but the recent one. I can't remember
New Order?
the name of it. Yes, the New Order.
New Order. Yeah.
That one was okay, but I didn't beat it because it didn't keep my attention. I don't know what it is with those games. They're fun for a while, but I don't know. It's too, dare I say, it's too Doom-like.
Yeah.
Given the publisher and everything else, I can see why. And it's even the original Wolfenstein and Doom are from the same era too, so it makes a lot of sense why they would be similar.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy the fact that everyone cheered for killing Nazis. So,
yes.
Good audience.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
true.
that's great.
Yep, I can get behind that.
On the subject of Destiny and shooters, Anthem, aka Destiny 3, Titanfall mixed with Destiny 3.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Or Firefall, if you ever played that.
Anthem, I don't know. I'm glad we saw actual game footage of Anthem, but that's about as far as that went, I think. I don't know, I guess I'm weary with BioWare after some of the other stuff that's occurred with BioWare and whatnot. I know they're capable of telling good stories, and they did a good job with Inquisition. There are people that are fans of Inquisition that really enjoyed it and did it right, but then there are other games where there was questionable decisions. So
that's a game I never played, but I wanted to. But I was so broke at the time that I couldn't pick it up, and then I just forgot about it.
If you really want a good impression of what it's like, you should just ask Crafty about it. She could tell you all about Inquisition. She knows quite a bit about it.
She too has probably read the books, if there were books.
Yes.
Are there books?
The books.
I hope there are.
And the fanfic.
I know there's comics. And fanfics? Okay, well.
There are all.
I don't know why I'm surprised. You know that you've made it when you have created a game that has fanfic.
Yep. Well, and the one thing I would never ever take away from BioWare is their ability to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
They are incredibly good at telling a story. So I'm hoping Anthem has that capability. Because if it does, then there's a ton of potential, I think. I wasn't completely sold on it yet.
There's some real opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about the story regarding the original Destiny. The vast majority of the storyline for Destiny was overhauled and put into tiny little bits and pieces versus the game that they decided to release because the developers thought it was too convoluted, too sorted, there was too much material there, and that people wouldn't have any interest in it. They needed something linear. So literally, it wasn't even the storyline team. They all got dumped somewhere in fire or something. And they're just hey, we're doing this now. built up the storyline in I think like a month, and kind of built it around what was already made for missions, and just changed the entire script. So knowing some of the material that was in that and how cool it actually was, I could see some opportunity for a game like that, like Destiny, but with a storyline focus, to have some place in the market.
Yes, please. Destiny 3: The Titan Falling, please. Yes.
Yes.
So Jenna, I was watching this with Jenna, and she, she came up with an interesting thing. Why not just play Warframe?
Yes, because Warframe is a heck of a game, and it looks good, and it's free. Hopefully you can just figure things out because there's no tutorial.
And it's here now.
Well, yeah.
And it's here now.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can just play it right now. You can go to Steam, download it, and play it.
Yep. And they have a great community that's involved in the game too. So, talk about other games that came from E3 though, or EA's E3 press conference that just was a WTF moment for me. Is when did CNC become a mobile game?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh
Mobile
yeah.
games in general during the conference, everyone's just sitting there like, "Are we actually talking about this?"
Right.
Oh man, that was so funny. And they had In Control.
Yes.
And some other guy. I don't know who the other guy was, but In Control just kicked his butt.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure there are certain people that are rolling over in their graves knowing that it's on a mobile platform instead of where it belongs.
Okay. To be devil's advocate again, I watched it and I was like, this is freaking why? And then I was like, well, the way they've created this game, it's like a 5-minute game. If you're really if you're in the car waiting for somebody, or if you're sitting in line, you're like, I get that.
Clearly, it's a game that's meant for when you're on the toilet, and I get that. But
or that.
Does it have to be a CNC game though?
No. Look, that's the thing, right? If they didn't have Command and Conquer on that title, it would be an interesting game. But because they branded it Command and Conquer. It's
nope. Dead in the water.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. I laughed. And I was not streaming at the time. I was watching this and just cracking up. And to see Jeff just on screen, it was just so funny to me. I don't know. It's just something about having this professional, one of the top players in one of the most, one of the most difficult games, playing that against I don't know who the other guy was, but I was this is just.
I don't immediately know either. You don't
know In Control?
I know who. Well, yeah, I know who In Control is. The other, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know who the other guy is.
No. Okay, so let me ask you that. What else was a weird standout moment from the entire press conference weekend? What else was really that? But that could be interesting. What?
Chat brought this up before we went to break that we didn't talk about. Dare I say it? Spoderman. Spider-Man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Spooderman.
Spooderman.
Look, okay.
To end one of the conferences with Spider-Man of all things. Now, full awareness here. I have never been a big fan of Spider-Man. When the movie started with Tobey Maguire, I was already out, and then there was another one and another guy after him. He's my least favorite out of everyone in the Avengers. I want him gone. I want him gone.
Wow.
I would be willing to destroy half of the universe's population.
I don't have that same disdain for Dizza, but I'm not a huge fan of his games.
I don't care either way, but I agree with Dizza. I'm sorry.
All that salt.
Look,
wow.
And especially because the combat is Batman. It's the punchy, bouncy Batman combat with the web, and the web is interesting, but I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not on my list either. I don't care. I didn't care for Arkham Asylum, or I know people really loved it. I didn't care for it.
I hated the combat and the way that company dealt with the bugs, the game-breaking bugs, and they were like, "Well, sucks for you." And that's what they left it. They left it like that, and I'm like, "All right, well, I'm never buying a game from you guys." And then,
and here they are going again.
Yeah, and the bounciness of the combat it's so to me.
If I wanted game-breaking bugs, I'll play Goat Simulator. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but at least the game-breaking bugs in Goat Simulator are good, and it's very cheap. I also got it for free, so.
Oh, I think my weird what is this was Maneater.
Maneater? I don't know if I've heard of that one.
Imagine, if you will, man versus shark. Not quite depth levels.
Maybe I did actually see this and I just totally forgot.
It was during the PC gaming show. It just looks.
I watched that.
That game did not take itself serious. And that's what I think I really appreciate about it. Is that game, a little bit. I think Depth tried to take itself more serious, and this game did not take itself serious, and I think that's part of the appeal.
True story, though. The development lead for Maneater was the creator of Depth.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. This guy must really like sharks, you guys. He must love sharks.
That, or he loves tormenting people that don't like sharks. That's entirely possible too.
He's mind controlled by a shark.
He's mind controlled by a shark.
He actually is a shark. He's a human, or he's a shark in a human suit.
There we go. That's exactly what it was. Yes.
Most plausible theory.
That stuck out to me that's kind of interesting. So I don't know. I'll see what that looks like. I'd love to see certain other people, big personalities that are afraid of sharks, to play that, because that'd be very entertaining to watch. Maybe we can get Bunny to play too. I think she'd really enjoy it.
Oh yeah, that seems right up Bunny's alley.
So let's do this. Since it's just the three of us right now, let's go ahead and do a lightning round. I have a few lightning rounds. First off, the game that stuck out to you the most at E3 that you are very much looking forward, and we'll start with you, Hippo, since you are our guest.
I really want to see what the hell Death Stranding is. I want to know what is going on with that game, because right now we have a bunch of trailers and none of it makes sense whatsoever. Like I said, baby delivering service, post-apocalyptic, no idea.
Fair.
Norman Reedus is a stork. I don't know.
Yes. Dizza.
Absolutely took it away from me. Although Ghost of Tsushima looks brilliant, and I will say most notable, I want to see what happens with this game, is definitely.
Cool.
I agree with you there.
I'm gonna switch gears on what I was. It was biggest. I did not see that coming, but Battletoads.
I did not. Yeah.
Nostalgia is going to take over a little bit on this one, and I'm looking forward to seeing what it has to offer as a result of it.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that too. What? Battletoads in 2018?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a thing. It's totally a thing.
Look, they know their audience. They're memeing it up.
Yes, exactly. What is a game that we could have done without this year at E3? We'll start with Dizza.
Trover saves the universe. No, I have Rick and Morty. Get rid of that. What on earth are you thinking? Run away. Go into your fallout shelter. Yeah.
Go into the
Just
vault.
done.
All right, this might make chat riot, but Spider-Man.
Wow. Okay.
I guess I just have I have hate towards Spider-Man that I didn't know. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't care about Spider-Man. I am so tired of comic books. I love comic books, but I'm so tired of like the Avengers 16. Somebody has a kid. Like I don't care. I don't care anymore. We've seen comic book characters, comic book media and stuff, and it's the exact same thing. So if they wanted to take Spider-Man and they wanted to bring it back and they wanted to do something good, give us something more than Arkham Asylum with the web. Okay. And maybe I just haven't looked into it too much, but I don't know. I don't really care for it at all.
Okay. Fair.
I love chat. Chat is losing their mind.
Yes, they are. I love
it's
it.
Ruinous.
I'm going to go with Just Dance. I think they could really go without another. Look, just come out with DLC. You've got an engine. It works.
Yeah.
Just fucking release DLC.
The only thing that I disagree with you with that is because I think that it is like the only game that gets fatties up and dances and moves around. I loved doing that when I was don't tell Pooksy, but I actually really enjoyed that.
So when the VOD comes out later, I gotta tweet her and be like, by the way, you need to watch the very end of the show. Got it. Look, no.
Look, don't tell chat this either, but I actually had a lot of fun playing that game. So if it wasn't on stream, I would probably enjoy myself, but because I had like 8 shots, I had like 4 shots of like, I don't remember what Kaizen gave me. I was drinking it, and it was like Fireball or something. I'm like, okay, I can do this now because I was in front of like Pooksy's audience when I was doing it.
Look, I don't get me wrong. I think what you're saying is true, but there's no major updates, right? It's the same engine. You could do large DLC packs too, right? And I think that would work a ton. I think that would be a great way to go about it. But a brand new title every single year, I can get.
Wouldn't that make you a FIFA?
A FIFA or a Madden, an Assassin's Creed.
NASCAR, Assassin's Creed. Yeah, they all. It's a tired thing. The thing like that. It shows, right? Like Call of Duty. Every time they come out with a new game, it's the exact same thing with slightly different things, and it's like, well, but it's Just Dance. How are you going to really innovate with Just Dance? Like, I don't know that much about the game, so I can't really say.
If there were different game modes, like if you have a set of new game modes that came out, then go for it. Create a brand new game, because Lord knows DDR Max did that. DDR was great at that, but they didn't release every single year either. And in fact, Crafty and I were talking about this earlier. If I think it's Namco, right, that did DDR. If they were to come out with a DDR for this year, I am pretty sure people would lose their shit.
Yes, the DDR, you're gonna really piss off your neighbors game.
I would lose my shit in probably 20 pounds.
I rest my case. All right. What was your WTF is this? Hippo, go.
I would say wait. Hang on. I think I remember this game. And I was like, wait, what? It was Twin Mirror. I don't know if you guys even remember that.
I don't know if I
did. No.
That game, like they showed very little of it. But it looked like a David Cage game. And I was like, oh, a David Cage game? I don't think it was actually David Cage.
I could... yeah.
Oh, it's from the Life is Strange devs. So that I was like, what is this? And not in a what is this, but like what is this?
Yeah.
This looks interesting.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. Dizza?
So if this is a WTF is this interesting thing, my biggest WTF moment was, how is it that I didn't know about Cyberpunk?
You didn't know about Cyberpunk?
What?
There was one of those big moments.
I don't know if we could be friends.
Here's the worst part. I enjoy Cyberpunk. Like, give me some William Gibson and I will read straight through it.
I think I love CD Projekt Red, so that's why I knew about them.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, like all of the novels, things like that, I'm totally into. I have the Shadowrun games, and I absolutely love those.
Those are great games.
I would love to get into a tabletop campaign of Shadowrun at some point, and I don't have a group for it yet. Like, I am super psyched about Cyberpunk, and yet apparently I was out on left field on this one. Like, that was my WTF moment.
Okay.
Congratulations. I wish that I was in your shoes because I've been waiting to hear more about this game since The Witcher 3. So I was like, wait. A game that's coming out from CD Projekt Red that isn't The Witcher? It's a new IP? Oh my god, yes, please give it to me right meow. And then it was Cyberpunk, and like the very little that they had showed of the trailer, like the teaser trailer, I was like, this is amazing.
Okay.
I was nerding it up. Sorry.
Nice.
As you well should.
So my moment was actually the entire Devolver Digital press conference.
I don't think I actually saw that one.
So I didn't even try to live tweet it because like I was going like I was just going all cynicism in, and there was no point I could because they were making fun of themselves the entire time.
I mean, they usually do.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know what to say. They've already said it for me. I
did see this. I blanked it out because it's so bad. I remember this. I did see this.
It's just like I don't know what to say. Like the entire show, the entire press conference is like I can't.
Is this edgy? Like, is this a pigeon meme? Is this edgy?
I don't know.
No, it's actually just disappointing yourself.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the games they were like talking about. I was so fixated on the two people that was talking and they were doing all the stuff, then acting.
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on? Apparently they're apologizing for it though.
What?
Which I don't think they need to do. But
No.
apparently they apologized for their press conference.
No, don't apologize. I mean, it definitely stood out. And the fact that, though, I guess the only thing that they can apologize for is the fact that the games weren't that memorable, but their MCs sure were.
Oh, it's because it was ridiculously like last minute planned. They really didn't know. So they were just like, you two, go out there and tell people stuff. And that's why it was like, what the hell is this?
And improv galore. Sure.
It was very strange. It was very strange. I don't know. I don't know what the games they were even talking about, unfortunately. I don't think they needed to apologize for it, though.
No, I really don't. And last lightning round, what was missing? What type of update were you looking for? Going, I wanted to know more about this, but you bastards didn't talk about it.
Oh, Final Fantasy VII Remake. But I know I'm not going to see anything about that for another decade, so whatever.
Well, I thought that they're coming out with it like episodically, right?
Yes.
Yes, we do know that.
That's all we know. Yeah.
Disappointed father. That's how I feel.
Dizzy kind of stole one of my answers, so I mean, now I gotta go find the other one I was pretty sure it was a thing. So, Hippo, what do you think was missing?
I don't even know. I'm just scrolling through stuff that like people are like we noticed that this wasn't there.
Oh wait,
I want to know what the hell Starfield is. That's what but that was actually there, so I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw Starfield.
No.
Yeah, that was like a Bethesda game that no one really knew what it was.
Yeah.
It was a new IP,
I do know
though.
what you're talking about. Yeah, because they talked about that last year at E3, and no, I don't think it was there at all.
No, I thought they announced it this year.
Was it?
And we don't know. Yeah, it was literally like a 20-second video of space, and that was it. That's all we know.
Because I know the video that you're talking about, but I don't remember where I watched it. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that would have been a nice update to have. Yeah, definitely. Mine's a weird one, but seeing as it got postponed all the way to this year, an update about it in general, since they other publishers talked about like Kingdom Hearts as much as they did, I would have loved to have known more about Ace Combat 7 and where the hell that's at.
Oh yeah.
I love myself some Ace Combat.
Yeah, I have to say, I won Ace Combat at one of your streams, and I enjoyed it very much.
That's right. I did give that away, didn't I? Yeah. Look, I love Ace Combat. I've been playing Ace Combat since I played some 2 and 3 on the PlayStation 1, but 4 was just like, all right, I've unlocked everything. I have all the all the badges and such. Like, I totally got behind that. Assault Horizon. I actually spent half an hour tweeting back and forth with Total Biscuit about how much that sucked, and that was probably the highlight of that like entire release. Is just going off, because here's the thing, like there's enough openness to the adventure of what Ace Combat has to offer, and we were both sounding off about the on rails helicopter moments, and it's just like, I can go without this. The jet levels were great. Love that. And the previous like 6, 5, 4, 0, they all, because they were in a fictional world, they could do whatever they want in whatever way they wanted, and there was usually a story involved with it too, and it was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. And Ace Combat 7 was announced 3 years ago, and it was postponed to 2017 and then 2018, and it's like, where the hell is this game? I want this game.
Okay, I got one.
Go.
Where the hell is not Banner, the next one from Banner, is it Bannerlord? Mountain Blade.
Oh.
Where the hell is that game?
That's a good question. I don't know. Where is that one?
It's been postponed constantly.
Yeah, I don't even see where. It's suddenly coming up in Google.
Yeah, no, it's gone. Like, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna make this, it'll be out, and then release, they were like, we're gonna push it back a little bit, and then they were like, we're actually pushing it back indefinitely. Like, where is that game? What is going on with it? I've heard nothing about it. I've heard nothing.
Vaporware.
Right, yeah, pretty much. Okay, wait, I got one more. Go ahead and give a quick kudos on anything else you saw from E3 that's just like, yes, good, nice work. I'll go ahead and start this one because I know exactly what I want to say.
Okay.
To Bethesda, kudos to you. Thank you so much for doing an Elder Scrolls 6 and not re-release Skyrim for the 15th time. Thank you so much for that.
They did, but they did release Skyrim for the 15th time.
I know Alexa was the 15th time, but they also announced 6. They're actually moving on with the franchise. So thank you, Bethesda, for doing that.
I mean, again, like I said at the very beginning, if that's the bar that's set, congratulations, Bethesda, on not remaking the game for another millionth time.
So, big points need to be made about Smash Brothers. I know that we just glossed over it and said, okay, it's another Smash Brothers, but there are two very important things that have happened. Well, one that has and one that hasn't happened that are both absolutely disgusting.
I think I know what you're talking about.
One, Snake has lost his butt. He has no ass anymore.
No ass at all? Oh, no.
And that's wrong. If you're going to bring him back entirely. Don't leave part of him back home.
I agree.
And
I can agree.
I know you brought everyone, but where is Waluigi?
Yeah, that's
what we need some more Wa in our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Waluigi. He was left so far out. Oh, that was fun. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. So this is the part where we completely sell out and talk about what we're doing on our channels. Hippo, again, since you are a guest, we'll go ahead and start with you. What do you got coming up on your channel in the near future?
Tonight, actually, right after the stream, I'm going to be live with Smoke and Sacrifice. The devs gave me a copy, so I'm going to check that out. Pretty much we're going to be playing more Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Evolution, City Skylines, and Sims 4 the rest of the week.
Okay.
And you can go to my website. That's right, I have a website now. That just happened over the weekend. If you look, I know my name is difficult to spell, and sometimes I mess it up. So hippo.wtf is going to be that's the domain. You can go to it. You'll find everything that you could possibly want to know and way more on that website.
Oh, that's awesome. Dizzo, what do you got coming up?
All right. I am just wrapping up Final Fantasy VI. That's been a wonderful blast of the past, and I'm still feeling a nostalgia trip. So before we go out to Octopath Traveler and absolutely go crazy, I am planning something big for launch for Octopath. I think that's going to be fantastic. We are going to hit some old PlayStation games. I've got it down to 1 or 2 big pieces. Both of them RPGs. I'm just trying to decide which one yet. So there might be some Parasite Eve. There might be some more Final Fantasy. Still trying to decide, but we've got to wrap up Final Fantasy VI. We need to show Kefka who's boss and we all over the place, because that's what you do when you're Kefka. You we.
Fantastic.
And yeah, in the meantime, if you are looking for times for my stream, because they are kind of random, huzzah, working retail. You may find me on Twitter. I am DizzaG there. You can also friend me. Please friend me. I like friends. And follow me.
Yeah.
Right here on Twitch. That makes a big difference. So thank you.
It's just above me, below him.
Yep. Hippo, by the way, where can we find you? Since Dizza covered that and we didn't. Where can we find you?
It's literally Hipponanymous everywhere. Like right here. Everywhere. Twitter, here, Instagram, all those places.
Cool. I guess then it's just me then. Tuesday will probably be Guild Wars Tuesday, where we do open world adventure, we do world bosses, and we learn how to do the world bosses properly, and things things that you should probably know while you're doing world bosses, like just tidbits that people should know. I might do some other exploring. I might do some more City Skylines as well. I also want to finish Evoland 2, so that might be coming up this week as well. We'll see. And then we'll start trying to figure out other games we'll play after that. And that's about it. As far as where you can find me, you're already on my channel, so you're in the right place for that. Miss Michelle Jean is where you can find me on the Twitter. And once YouTube gives me the availability to customize my URL, I'll do the same there, so you can find like the VODs of this, because that's where it exports out to. That said, for DizzaG, Hipponanymous, and myself, my name is Miss Michelle Jean. Ladies